are planning a soft launch in November, and we might be able to change the education system. That's funny. It's weird.
Yeah. Up yours, woke moralist. Yeah. We'll see who cancels who.
Jordan Peterson has announced that he is launching his own unaccredited university. He's not happy with how academics and higher ed works in the United States. And so let's have him explain what this project is really about.
Be funny if we could blow apart the university system a little bit because it's broken because of what it did to you. Like you were alienated out of your job, basically.
You'll be damn fortunate if we can provide you with a list of people who've graduated. And if you had any sense, you'll employ them preferentially because we did the rigorous screening work. And I know how to do the rigorous screening work because I studied that for like 25 years. A degree from our university will signify high-level conscientiousness and general cognitive ability, and those are very valuable for any employer with a clue. So I think we can just skip the accreditation process and go right to the employers.
We are planning a soft launch in November, and we might be able to change the education system. That's funny. It's weird.
Up yours, woke moralist. We'll see who cancels who.
Exactly.
That's sort of funny.
That kind of funny.
Oh yeah, that kind of funny.
Now, it's really important to understand that this is unaccredited. So if this is a comparison to an accredited university, just don't make the mistake of thinking that. If anyone pays for this, and he's advertising that it would be a much cheaper option, a lot of places of work wouldn't take that degree as a credible degree.
No, they would take the degree. They just use it as toilet paper. Okay, so his idol, Trump, already did this scam. They ran Trump University, and they're going to teach you how to do the best real estate. You're going to learn how to make a lot of money, and I'm going to teach you. He never showed up. They would have students take a picture with a cardboard cutout of Donald Trump and charge him like $15,000, $30,000. It was such an obvious scam. He had to pay a fine of $25 million for scamming people out of their money. Look, setting up a university is an enormous undertaking. Setting up one class is incredibly hard, let alone a whole college or university. This Jordan Peterson clown, he's gonna set it up by himself. Okay,
no.
Total junk, hilarious.
Okay, so look, this is the thing that I find unfortunate about this story because Jordan Peterson has increasingly shown signs of like struggling with something, with his mental health. And so you see the way that he talks about these issues and he sounds a little crazy, okay? However, let's just put Jordan Peterson and the maniacal behavior he's been engaging in aside for a second, and instead just focus on what the underlying message is. And I do think that it is a legitimate message that is not gonna be solved by Peterson launching his own unaccredited university. Like he's making a point about the groupthink that has become more and more dominant on college campuses and how anyone who might think differently gets silenced. I do think that that's a bit of a problem. Now, that's not me trying to provide cover for any kind of bigotry. So anyone who's gonna come at me with that, please step aside, calm down. It's really about, this is what we believe at this university. And if you are a professor, especially if you are a lecturer or an adjunct, if you step out of line a little bit, there is really a threat of you losing your job.
Yeah, I know. So look, let me give you my experience with that in a second. But it ain't gonna get solved by Bobo the Clown over here.
I agree,
Jordan
I
Peterson.
said that, yes.
Yeah, so don't go to his dumbass college. If you do, you deserve the degree that you get, okay? Which will be totally and utterly worthless. So, okay, now having said that, yeah, is there a real issue? Of course there's a real issue. So, look, I was Republican when I was growing up. And number one reason was, well, there's a bunch of influence factors, and I talk about it in my book, Justice Coming. And one of them was that the mainstream media tricked me into thinking Ronald Reagan was a hero who loved America and was going to create a shining city on a hill, and that was a load of junk, right? But one of the contributing factors was back then the left was still powerful, left over from the 1960s and 70s, where they were very powerful, and some of the extreme whenever the pendulum swings, it swings too far. And some of the extreme leftists back then did have a huge sway on college campuses by the time I got there in the 1980s. And so I remember having a free speech debate and what should be our harassment code at Penn, the undergrad that I went to, institution that I went to, and I went to speak on behalf of free speech, and so arguing in all directions, not racial speech, not hate speech, just free speech to argue different policy positions, et cetera, et cetera.
And remember, Cenk is a conservative at the time.
Yeah, I'm a Republican at the time, not really conservative, a liberal Republican. But anyway, so I go to speak and I get booed down and they will not allow me to speak. The dean is in the back and he doesn't do anything about it. I went up to the dean later and I said, so only the people that were in favor of this policy were allowed to speak, and you saw with your own eyes that everyone else was booed off the stage. Isn't that the most ironic thing in the whole wide world if we're talking having a free speech debate, right? So right-wingers, you think I don't know? I know, I lived it. So I know, and for the left that is on our side, we should not go to those extremes. That is not a good place to be, that's not America. And good news, you're right, so you don't have to worry about shutting down anyone else. You can just let them speak and then prove them wrong. And that's why we believe in a marketplace of ideas. And do I see the pendulum swinging too far these days on college campuses? Unfortunately, yes, I'm seeing some of that return, right? And so the right answer for that is to open up more academic freedom inside the universities. That doesn't mean the freedom to just go into a college campus and start shouting the N-word randomly, but it does mean opening up the aperture for more conversation, even if it makes you uncomfortable. And don't get into the thing of like, somebody said something I don't like, so I feel unsafe. No, you feel unsafe if someone's threatening you or using harsh racial language that makes you feel unsafe. But hey, that's a policy position I don't like, so I'm unsafe, so you're not allowed to say it. No, that's just an excuse to shut other people down. But now, having said all that, Bobo's not gonna fix it.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go back to what Jordan Peterson is doing. So Fox and Friends had a sit-down interview with Peterson just last month, and he did talk about the launch of this unaccredited, it's really important you guys get that, university. He said that his desire to launch this program stemmed from his unhappiness with how the higher education model and how higher education institutions have operated over the course of recent decades. He said, quote, "I'm not very happy with what the universities have done over the last, let's say, 20 years. We're trying to put a system online, Peterson Academy, that will drop the cost of a bachelor's degree to $4,000. Now look, I like that he's concerned about the cost of higher education, but spending $4,000 on a degree that is essentially worthless, in my opinion, doesn't make the situation any better. But he says, we think we can find the best lecturers in the world and bring them to people, and also instantiate, what is that word?
Instantiate?
Instantiate.
It's such a word that Jordan Peterson would use to try to sound smart. How about getting the policies right? That would make you sound smart instead of using those words for no goddamn reason.
Okay, so so let me continue with that graphic. Let's put it back up. Instantiate a set of extremely, what would you say, severe and high quality accreditation standards for the graduates, so that people who graduate from our university will be stamped with a credential that indicates genuine competence, literacy, intelligence, conscientiousness, and so forth. Wait, what? But
this is not a university. Look, if you want to give some rando classes and say, hey, I'm gonna have conservative lecturers, have at it, Hoss, nobody minds that. And if people want to pay $4,000 for it, that's up to them, man. That's free market, okay? And by the way, bunch of conservatives will pay for that. That's your business. Don't call it a university, you're being absurd. Do you know how, look, we've been running this business for 21 years and it's super hard. Running any business is hard. Running a university is exponentially harder. It's like saying, I'm gonna build a commercial real estate building in the middle of Manhattan by myself. No, you're not, okay? You're being absurd as always. But to be fair, I've got some criticism for myself as well, because I'm the fairest man in America. I was just calling him Bobo the Clown, but that's, to be fair, really Lauren Boebert's name. Got to be more imaginative than that, okay? Petey the Clown, Airhead Jordan, I don't know.
Listen, the video that we showed you guys was, I believe, with his daughter, Michaela. Can you just look out for your dad? Like, I'm coming from a place of empathy right now. I'm not saying this to criticize him. Clearly, being in the public eye as much as he is not doing good things for his mental health. Just like look out for your dad a little bit.
Yeah.
And don't encourage what's currently happening. Like, you should be worried about him.
When someone breaks down crying nonstop at almost every event, they're having, and he says it all the time that he's having issues. So, anyways, then as a progressive, I've got, I've got empathy for that, sympathy for that, right? But not while he's attacking others and trying to shame them and attacking people's looks online and doing weirdo things like that. And in terms of his daughter, I don't know much about her, but I mean, she said we could be changing the educational system. That's funny and weird. Yeah, it is funny and weird. You're not going to change the educational system with Petey the Clown's like 2 courses. Come on, get real. Don't be ridiculous. Changing, I mean, look at that delusion of grandeur. You're gonna change the entire educational system because a couple of people online got tricked into signing up for your fake university.
You never know, Cenk. Sometimes real change starts with an idea.
That's actually true, but not this idea, okay?
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us, become a Young Turk.